Effects of the Holocaust are still in our society today, even being 2014. Many things are forever changed due to this tragic event in our history. After my presentation, you will know a little bit more about this tragic event. 6 million Jews were murdered by the Nazi regime and its collaborators, along with other perceived inferior groups like the Gypsies and the Poles. The Holocaust began gradually due to many centuries of anti-Jewish sentiments. There is no real reason as to why it all started, although many people, such as those in the Nazi Party, would blame Europe's misfortunes and struggles on the Jewish people. After World War I, many soldiers began also blaming the Jews as to stabbing them in the back during the war. Soon, there were propaganda against the Jews that convinced people they were the enemy. Eventually, Hitler would spread his word, along with his followers, that the Jews were of a different race from the Germans and inferior. There is no real reason as to why or how such a deep hatred could exist among a whole race of people, or could lead to such heinous crimes committed in the Holocaust. After 12 years of the Holocaust, Allies started to advance and liberate some of the concentration camps. Different allies, along with the Americans, slowly stripped Hitler of his power. Once the biggest camp, Auschwitz, known today as the most famous, was liberated, it marked as an ending to the war. Once Germany was finally invaded in 1945, Hitler, not wanting to pay for his crimes, committed suicide. Thus, the war was finally over. It is important to remember these horrific pieces of our history, therefore it does not repeat itself again. Because of the past, the Jewish population is sizably smaller and still seeing effects of the war today. Although a lot of German soldiers still have not been convicted of their crimes in the war, we are still fighting to find the criminals and convict them today. The Diary of Anne Frank is a story that almost all of us are required to read in school now. It's a story about a young girl who had to spend 2 years of her life in hiding from the Nazis. It's a great book because it shows us what it was like to be in that age and to be Jewish, to really see what all of them had to go through in their life. It teaches us about our past and how horrific it was for the Jews.